What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the 2025 Honda Pilot. This one is the TrailSport all-wheel drive, finished off in platinum white pearl. MSRP is $51,000. So let's take a look at this 7-passenger family style crossover that does have some off-road capabilities. See what you are gonna find. So pulling that lever, we can pop the hood, and then finding that hood latch. There are no gas struts, so unfortunately you are going to have to use the prop rod to hold it up, but you are going to find that naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 motor. This engine is pumping out 285 horsepower with 262 pound-feet of torque. Has a 10-speed automatic transmission, all-wheel drive. Curb weight is a little over 4,600 pounds. Taking a look at the styling now, you're going to see the really cool LED headlights. I like how they're blacked out, matching the grille really well. When you go ahead and tap a button, you can see that cool turn signal in the amber color. Gloss black surrounding this grille, and then you have huge openings with all this mesh to provide a ton of cooling. Got the TrailSport badge, Honda badge, along with a forward-facing camera. It's also a safety sensor up there. You're gonna see some more gloss black trim, a nice cutout right here to allow airflow to pass through these front wheels. A little bit of plastic trim with LED fog lights, parking sensors, a little bit of silver trim, and then openings down below for more airflow. Pretty squared off and bold front end. It definitely has a muscular appearance to this exterior design. On the hood, nice and squared off with just a little bit of sharp body lines throughout it. And then as we make our way to the side profile, you got a pretty cool set of 18-inch wheels. They even say TrailSport on them, split design for the spokes, nice gunmetal gray, wrapped in an all-terrain tire. A little bit of the plastic trim surrounding the wheel arch just to protect the bodywork when you are hitting some trails. Then nice sharp body lines throughout the side, fading into the rest of the car. Got some plastic molding down below as well in the rocker panel, a little bit more body molding. Power operations for the side mirrors with an LED integrated turn signal. Got your gloss black door handles and then all black trim surrounding the windows. Then a nice set of roof rails with a panoramic roof up on top. This third window is pretty cool. It's kind of like floating in the bodywork. Kind of looks random, but also looks really cool with the design. You're gonna notice some cool trim design to the body molding itself, just kind of poking outwards as if it were an extra piece. Nice sharp body line throughout the side, cutting into the fenders in the back. Pretty good side profile. It definitely has some size to it. Almost looks like a Dodge Durango, honestly. It's kind of that size vehicle. Nice design on these red taillights with some of the halogen bulbs. You got Honda and Pilot all throughout the rear, and a pretty large integrated spoiler up on top. Down below, we do have a plastic black rear bumper with some silver accents in the center, your nice trailer hitch, and then some parking sensors throughout it. All of your badging, sharp body line as well. So overall, pretty good looking SUV. Now we can go ahead and hold the button on the key fob, power open that, or of course you can press the button that's on the liftgate underneath the L. So right now you can get a good idea of this cargo area with all the seats folded down. So you can see just how much space you're gonna get. If you have the second row up, you can get an idea of that. Now these are all manual, pretty simple to use overall. You can just grab these straps, pull this all the way up. In the most up position, you can also then manually pop these headrests, and these seats will recline as you'll see, and you can get them back into that position. So pretty good amount of maneuverability in this car. And then you can take a look at the space behind these seats and their different recline angles. From here, you do have some storage underneath, nice hidden amount of space. Spare tires are gonna be underneath the car as well. A little cubby on this left side as well. And you just press the button once, we'll go ahead and close that down. Moving on to the interior now from the back seat. I do like these manual sunshades you're gonna see back here. You have some plastic, a little bit of soft touch material and padding on these armrests. A lot of storage in here as well with extra cup holders. And then the seats are gonna fold down nice and flat as you saw, and just manually lift them back up. There are gonna be the adjustable armrests, which is a cool touch. A little bit of a storage shelf in the center here with these captain's chairs. Then you have all your climate control vents. You have different controls themselves, a few plugs, and then storage behind these seats with a dedicated phone holder, which is a really cool touch. You're gonna have your recline lever. You also have a slider to move these back and forwards, and then a button down here and in back to go ahead and get the seat out of the way for easy entry into the back. Hopping into the second row at 5'11", with the driver's seat about at my height. If I recline this all the way and slide it all the way back, still got plenty of legroom, and honestly I think this seat has slid back with the comfort access. But you have a ton of headroom. Armrests do a great job as well. Seat's pretty comfortable. It does feel a little short for my legs, of course, but you're probably gonna have kids back here, so it won't be an issue. But overall, this is definitely a very practical and comfortable car. From here, I'll just press this button now, get the seat out of the way, and let's climb into the third row. Now this can seat 3 people back here. You can, of course, pop open those headrests, and then the recline lever is just this little strap, pull that, and we can get this all the way back. You're gonna see 2 huge cup holders, an air vent and a USB port. And then if I pull the seat back, I still have really good space. Again, at 5'11", I'm sitting here perfectly fine with good leg room and knee room, plenty of headroom. And if you want, you can just extend your leg in the center. So 6 people, no doubt, are gonna be perfectly comfortable. The middle person might be a little cramped, but nonetheless, for not being the biggest car, this is a really good seating configuration. Now getting that out of the way, we can easily climb out and make our way to the front. You're gonna have the smart key as well, where you can lock and unlock it from the door handles. You're gonna get a little bit more soft touch materials up here, the same padding and everything, memory seating, a little bit of gloss black trim, and then a ton of storage all throughout this door panel. You have all your power controls on the left side of the seat, and then the nice combination of the smooth leather with all this contrast stitching. Got the nice TrailSport logo embroidered up there. Stitching's a pretty cool orange color. And then hopping inside, foot on the brake, let's fire it up. So the seat has its comfort access, so it's going back to its memory setting, which of course isn't exactly my height. There we go, getting that nice and adjusted. From here, you have a nice 3-spoke steering wheel with the contrast stitching and smooth leather. And then you have your heated steering wheel button right in the center. All your controls on the left side for some Bluetooth and audio. You also have adjustments for the center screen. You have cruise control settings on the right with your forward pacing, lane keeping, general mounted paddle shifters, stock on the right for the windshield wipers, and then headlights and turn signals on the left. Taking a look at the gauge cluster now, you can go through all sorts of different information. Hitting your home icon, you can go under warnings, fuel and range. One thing you do have to do is always press home to change it. You can't just scroll here. So it would be kind of nice if you can scroll through these in the actual screen. But nonetheless, you still get a pretty good use of a digital screen along with your analog speedometer. On the left side, you're gonna see the heated windscreen. You also have traction control and the tailgate release. One of your air vents, some soft touch plastic, and then I like all the storage up above. That's a really good touch. This cool leather material with all the stitching. And then Honda's infotainment, pretty easy to use, really snappy touchscreen, nice large tiles as well to make it pretty convenient. You have some more information, manual home icon, shortcuts down below, track, volume, and then going into reverse, we pull that button back. You have a nice backup camera, top-down view. You can adjust the actual view right there. If I go into drive, it'll exit out of there, but you can press this icon and even take a look at more camera angles. So you have the front view with top down, we can adjust that. So pretty cool design. For the gear selector, you have the park button up in front, drive, neutral, reverse is pulling that back. I like how there are physical climate controls. We have heated seats, temperature you can easily adjust, fan speed right in the center, and then your AC, front defrost, you can see your mirrors, and then we have rear settings as well. So we can adjust that for rear and just focus on that. So pretty cool design for all the different zones. There is extra storage, a few plugs, wireless charging, and more storage, and then 2 nice cup holders with some armrest padding. So nice size armrest here as well. Good amount of storage down below, and then a pretty good sized glove box. One last look at the interior. This is a roomy car, honestly. Decent use of materials as well, so it feels pretty nice in here. I like the color combo with the stitching, the leather, of course. Massive sunroof. And then you can pop this down for some sunglass holder, or you even have a little mirror to view what's going on behind you. We have the glass and sunshade control, and then garage door buttons underneath your mirror. All right, so setting off now in the Honda Pilot TrailSport. So in the parking lot, one thing I'm noticing already, the steering is incredibly lightweight. There is literally no effort to turn this steering wheel. It does make this car feel a little floaty. Now this is their more off-road focused one. Obviously it's no hardcore off-roader, but this is the one that's gonna have a little bit softer suspension and easier maneuverability when hitting some trails and things like that. So when you are getting up to some speed, you can tell it's a little floaty. Once again, there is some body roll, a little vague on the steering. So if you're doing a lot of highway driving, things like that, to where you're never actually gonna go on any sort of off-road adventure, I would stick with like a touring model or something more street focused. This one definitely shows its weaknesses on the road, given it has the off-road capabilities. When you are getting up to some speed, you can tell it's a V6. It sounds like one. Nothing crazy fast, you know, we're not like redlining it or anything being a brand new engine, but it gets up to speed fine. A little bit of delay in the transmission letting it shift, but nonetheless, this is going to be a very robust powertrain and just kind of old school when most other competition are going to turbo 4 cylinders and CVTs. So it's nice to see a normal transmission. The drive modes, they don't really do a crazy amount. The sport mode now is going to let it rev a little bit higher, giving you a little bit more throttle. So giving it some speed now. It'll rev a little bit higher just to utilize the power band. Overall comfort, given it has an off-road tuned suspension, this is very soft. It does float over bumps, and I mean, you have a really good view out. It feels like a pretty big SUV, honestly. Like I mentioned, this kind of feels like a Dodge Durango in size, and when you're in it, it feels like almost a jumbo SUV, but not quite. You're definitely high up. You have a huge windshield, good visibility overall. Mirrors do a pretty good job. The window looks a little on the small side back there, but you know, you can still see around very well. Of course, looking over your right and left shoulder, I mean, plenty of space. So it's a roomy, big vehicle with good visibility. You can tell the front is a little farther away, so it might take just a little bit getting used to pointing this car and like parking it, things like that, just making sure you know where this vehicle sits. But nonetheless, it does make for a very roomy interior. I mean, I have so much room in here. The seats themselves are really padded, really comfortable, and it's a pretty easy car to get used to. Materials are pretty good, everything you touch and feel. I love the physical climate controls. It just makes it simple. Even the screen, while it's not really all that fancy, it has all the information you're gonna need, and it's just easy to operate. The camera system also works really good, not only for off-road things, but if you are parking, situations like that, you can toggle this at certain speeds. I can see that front view, the top-down view, a close-up of my wheels as I get close to the curb. So that is a great touch to see. But that steering is so effortless, that is crazy. Backup camera, and we have a lot of ground clearance as well. Takes a little bit getting used to the buttons for everything, but that camera system really does a pretty good job. So overall driving experience, definitely an easy vehicle, nothing really crazy about it drive. I would say just the biggest thing you're gonna notice, it does feel a little loose. This is definitely not an on-road sporty SUV. It is kind of big, kind of out there, and a little bit lazier in the steering, a little floaty with the suspension. So depending on what you're going to be driving this vehicle in, the circumstances you're going to use your SUV for, you know, of course Honda has some good trim levels that will fit the more street-focused version. But this one will give you that all-wheel drive with the off-road capabilities to go up some fun mountains, have some adventures, and take this places you wouldn't normally take a 7-passenger SUV.